Another smoke. Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, there's so many right here.
Oh, behind you, too.
Oh my god, I just got a quad.
He's on my body. Man, he's literally on my body. Laying down.
Quad feed. Got him.
Alright. That's funny.
Ah, what?
My camp.
Oh, there's 3 more. Oh, it's 10 to 9 right now. Hey! Damn! Alright, let's do this. Battlefield has been a flagship franchise for over a decade. Battlefield Bad Company 2, 3, 4, and 1 were all major developments for my generation of players. After these AAA developments, most of DICE's veteran devs left EA, leaving a whole new crew to decipher the Frostbite engine. We can see from the success, or lack thereof, of Battlefield 2042, DICE EA was losing their spark with their fans. In the past 5 years, DICE has struggled to find its footing in a new age of live service and over-monetized games, but they may have cut through the red tape with this one. While Activision is dwindling its player base with SBMM and overpriced in-game bundles, developer DICE has noticed a gap in the market for a grounded and gritty FPS shooter. They have seized the opportunity and accumulated 500,000 players on the first weekend of the beta. It is no surprise, with COD carrying about 60,000 players daily, that a lot of FPS fans have been trying to find a new home, and they might have found it with this one. The awe I felt playing this game for the first day in the beta was indescribable. It had felt like I had arrived home in a sense. The action of Battlefield is here to stay. The moments rushing sight with a squad full of guys, explosions going off all around you, is something Battlefield does best. The game was a breath of fresh air with the current state of FPS. With a lot of companies feeling like they're taking a step back with their new developments, DICE seems like they're taking a step forward by listening to their player base. But it is a beta, so we'll have to wait and see for the full launch of the game. Let's start with the pros. The gunplay is loose and grounded in realism, with what feels like the real way a person would react to gunfire. Bunny hopping and strafing, while it is possible, it is much more difficult than previous FPS titles. I do believe this is a good thing. Firing a weapon feels powerful and carries the real weight of a firearm. Battlefield 6 finds a nice gray area between realistic shooters like Arma and arcade shooters like COD. Now to speak on the weapons. The weapons were limited during the beta, which is understandable, carrying a few weapons from each of Battlefield's 4 main classes with some extras. I will say, everything felt strong, so in a sense nothing felt overpowered, but we'll have to wait for the full launch of the game for that one. To hone in on weapon categories, ARs have a powerful feel with more recoil, but this can be overcome by attachments as you level them. SMGs are powerful at close range, but not strong enough to outgun an AR. Carbines were my favorite of the bunch. Having versatile weapons with a high fire rate, but very controllable recoil was nice. Shout out to the AK-205 for carrying me. LMGs are very good this time around. All options feel viable with good recoil control. DMRs felt a little underpowered in this iteration of Battlefield. I feel too much recoil is stunting their performance. I would much rather throw an AR in single fire mode and use that instead. Being that this is a beta and I didn't get very deep into the weapons leveling, this is kind of my fault. Shotguns feel inconsistent at best, sometimes feeling overpowered and sometimes not. I feel like the same shot to the body could produce a hit marker or a one shot. Last but not least, sniping. It feels fine in this iteration of Battlefield. There was only one sniper to use, and I didn't use it much if I'm being frank. Same thing with sidearms, you kinda only use them if you're in a pinch. While the selection of maps was slim, I still had a great time on them, and I'm excited to see the full collection of maps on launch. I could really see myself getting immersed in what they have to offer. Whatever game mode you play, the maps adjust accordingly and flow very well. With spawns being stable, I could accurately identify enemy flanks and strategies while using a few of them myself. I feel like this has fallen to the side in the state of modern FPS for bunny hopping 360 montages. This feels more traditional, and I'm happy to see it return. Iberian Offensive, Liberation Peak, and Siege of the Congo all found their place in the beta. I really don't have any complaints. I never fell into a spawn trap, and there always seemed to be a way to overcome enemy presence with a nice flank or heavy equipment. And with a good squad, you can get a lot done. I did notice on Siege of the Congo and Iberian Offensive, these maps are a lot more close quarters than standard Battlefield. This may be an issue for some, given the scale of Battlefield, but this is just 1/3 of the maps, so on full release, I'm sure we'll get a little bit of everything. That leads me to my next point. Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. With the reintroduction of 4 individual classes, the emphasis on teamwork is back. Assault, being called frontliner, felt a bit overpowered, only because you can carry 2 primary weapons as well as an anti-infantry launcher. Support and medic have been worked into one class, which just feels right. The support bag resupplies and heals, which is a nice touch. LMGs are the designated weapon for support. Recon and anti-armor classes saw a lot less use from me, but they have their place, especially in large conquest maps with vehicles and large open areas. Weapons are no longer locked to a class, but you get a buff from using your class's designated weapon. Feels like a nice way to balance using any weapon on any class. Side note, being dragged by your teammates while you're being revived to get back in the action is a great mechanic. BattleBit did do it first, but I'm happy to see it now in AAA titles, and BattleBit hasn't been touched in like 19 months by the developers. So speaking of vehicles, vehicle play is fun and mostly without bugs. The only bug I've seen, and I'll see if I can find it in the footage, is a tank flying across the map, but that is kind of expected in a beta. My first game in the gunner seat of a tank, I went 35-2. Of course the gameplay is corrupted, but I have a screenshot of it. Vehicles can be easily dealt with by an anti-armor class, but with the right play, you can go a long way with the tank. Quick plus for Battlefield, I like the loading in between games. Most games are doing this now, but I like that it's in a continuous search until you actively decide to leave. Can't overstate this enough. The only thing that I wish they had between games was loadout customization. You kind of lose time to acquire the objective when you're editing your loadout in the beginning of the game. Kind of a nitpick, but it would be a nice quality of life thing. So now that we're through the pros, let's move on to the cons. Netcode was an issue in the first weekend of the beta. While this is expected to some extent, I did notice my hit registration getting worse as the weekend went on. I hate to even go there, but ping should be a #1 determining factor when searching for games, and KD should be #2. On the same hand, this was a stress test with over 500,000 players, so take that with a grain of salt. Being that I've been playing FPSs for 10 years, I don't want to join the worst lobby and sweep everyone, but I don't want hit reg and lag to get in the way of the average player enjoying this game. Little stuff like running behind cover and still getting hit, or laying 5 or 6 shots into an enemy and still ending up dead. It did rub me the wrong way. I'm sure this will be addressed as the game goes on, but I thought it was worth mentioning. While performance is pretty optimized, my i7 14700K and GTX 4060 did struggle a little bit in chaotic situations. I did try adjusting my graphics settings to low, which did work, but it was kind of a bummer to nerf the game's graphics like that. I was running anywhere from 60 to 100 frames a second, so lower end systems will have a harder time getting this game to run. Moving on, some little things I noticed: the maps have a lot of jagged edges. For example, the rock face on Liberation Peak. If you're walking on them, your character acts like he's falling for a split second, which causes the weapon to become unsteady. And I noticed walking up on some cover caused your character to bounce in the air, which would obviously cause you to become unsteady. Not too many complaints from me though. This game was a rush to play. It really had that Battlefield soul I've been looking for. The aesthetic matches most to Battlefield 4 with the modern theme. I put 20 hours into the beta this weekend, and I wouldn't have spent it any other way, to be honest. If I had to give the first weekend of the beta a score, I would give it a cautious 8.5 out of 10. There are some kinks to be worked out, but I could definitely sink a healthy amount of hours into this game with a fully fleshed out armory, game modes, and good leveling system. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and let me know what you thought of Battlefield 6 beta in the comments. If you want to stick around for my next video, consider subscribing. That'll be all for this one, guys. Remember, drink water and be easy. Later, y'all.